Nations across the map create new alliances, but the promise of a world market sends nations into a giant battle, hoping to secure global economic dominance. After witnessing the devastating consequences of the Island War that ravaged the nations of Etheria and Falkland, the other nations on the continent began focusing on economic and military stability. The scars of the war have left a profound impact, not just on the physical landscape, but also on the very fabric of trade and foreign relations. The Island War, which was a conflict between Etheria and Falkland over a simple land dispute, caused tremendous damage and many casualties on both sides. Etheria took the hardest hit after being forced to pay reparations to Falkland. As the other nations watched from the sidelines, they saw how interconnected their fates were with Etheria and Falkland, and how quickly prosperity could turn to chaos. A few nations sided with Etheria, pleading to provide economic support and form alliances with them to ensure protection. However, other nations saw the military might of Falkland and chose to side with them, hoping to secure a future for their nation. However, if granted with the opportunity to gain ultimate economic power, would these nations be willing to turn their backs on each other? In a world where power and dominance decided leadership, one nation operated in a different way. The nation of Snowcoma was the only nation on the server that used democracy to choose their leaders, and a new election was underway. The people of Snowcoma voted in a new leader and his vice president. These two were now the leaders of the most developed nation on the server, a nation that was determined to spread democracy and peace throughout the land. The new leader quickly got to work, creating non-aggression pacts with other nations. His ambitions for peace didn't stop there. Recognizing the importance of alliances in a rapidly shifting global landscape, he extended a hand of cooperation to the nations of Etheria and Numidia. Forming an alliance with these nations felt crucial after the Etheria-Falkland War, hoping that this alliance would help provide economic stability and protection for Etheria would ease the tension within the region. As nations all across the map continued to develop, a new type of settlement was on the rise. Across the map popped up small tribes. These tribes were small groups of players hoping to one day become official nations. The growing tensions between nations created a very hostile environment for these tribes. At any point, they could be targeted, their land ripped from them, their resources taken, and their people turned into slaves. The Daybreak tribe settled just along this river. They were a peaceful tribe with the hopes of one day being recognized as a nation. But across the river, a few players from Eldernheim set up their own small settlement. The Daybreak tribe feared that Eldernheim had plans to attack. Perhaps Eldernheim was worried of new nations forming near them, hindering their dominance on the west side of the map. While tribes dealt with trying to exist among mighty nations, a new challenge was about to hit the continent. A traveling merchant by the name of Matthias had just arrived in Eldorar and came with a proposal. He offered to set up a world market near one of the nations, but every nation that wanted the market would have to fight for it. Eldernheim was the first nation to bid for the market, and shortly after, Falkland showed interest. It was clear that when there was a chance to gain leverage in global trade, relationships and alliances went out the window. In a matter of no time, 7 nations and 3 tribes showed interest in the market. With the promise of economic power on the line, these 7 nations and 3 tribes were ready to fight a world war. However, after some time, a few of the nations realized the absurdity in going to war against other nations they had good relations with. So, a few nations dropped out, leaving just 2 nations left willing to fight. Nations and tribes across the map were now getting ready for a massive battle, hoping to secure their future by becoming the center of global trade. Falkland, Etheria, and 3 tribes gathered near the coast. The 3 tribes were the Daybreak tribe, the Aglandia tribe, and the Tolakar tribe. But the most notable thing was once again, Etheria was going face to face with Falkland. The traveling merchant built a small tower where he was ready to watch the battle. Players began building small forts in preparation. The scene was set. By the end of this battle, one nation would become a global economic power. The battle started, and for the first 30 minutes, no one did anything. They all just kind of sat there and stayed in their forts and did nothing. Instead of doing nothing, you should start your own Minecraft server with Altivox. Shout out to Altivox for being the host of the Rise and Rule Minecraft server. I highly recommend using them if you are looking to start your own Minecraft server. Feel free to join their Discord for more information. All links are in the description. Okay, back to the video. Where were we? Right. Etheria got punched, tribes are looking to become a nation, and a battle for the world market. After some time of doing nothing, Etheria started to move in towards Falkland. The 3 tribes in Etheria all agreed to team up, and so quickly, the battle became Falkland versus everyone else. Okay, so it's gonna be everyone for themselves, and winner gets the market? Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'm cool with that. What are you guys doing? Fighting started and Falkland's fort proved to be efficient. No matter what they tried to do, they couldn't breach the fort. Eventually, they had to give up and retreat. It was now time for Falkland to move in. Falkland moved in and built a small fort in the center of the battlefield, and then went up. Knowing that fighting everyone together would be difficult, they decided to wait it out and let them all start fighting each other. And that's exactly what happened. The Daybreak tribe got tired of waiting for Falkland to come down, and so they started attacking Etheria. As this was happening, Falkland saw an opportunity and dropped down to the ground to do a bit of third-party cleanup. Players from both sides met their demise, but once the battle was finally over, the only players still alive were from Falkland. Falkland had won the battle, meaning the world market would be right off their coast for easy access. And everyone in Falkland was definitely very happy about having the world market. I am so tired of people constantly coming to our nation. Can they just leave us alone? Well, we do have the world market here, so that's probably why they're here. Well, guess what? I'm gonna murder anyone who steps foot in this market. Hey. That's pretty epic! Falkland had made a name for itself. Victors of the war against Etheria, and now, victors of the world market. The players of Falkland were feeling pretty confident in their nation, and nationalism was at an all-time high. The nation saw rapid growth and development. There was truly nothing that could stop them. And on the other side of the map, the Daybreak tribe was officially recognized as a nation. The other tribes around the world were now eager to get their chance to become a nation. But for now, they will have to wait. With the arrival of the world market, players also now have the opportunity to start their own shops, bringing the world into a heavy era of trading.